Let us begin with the first section of this chapter and let us see what is basically covered under this section. First, we are going to be discussing about the way money is seen as a medium of exchange. Under this, we are going to understand this concept better through a case study of a shoe manufacturer. Then, we are going to come down to a very important topic called as modern forms of money. Under modern forms of money, we are going to evaluate and understand briefly about currency, the different kind of currencies we use, and the deposits with banks and check payments. So let us get ahead with this section. Money as a medium of exchange. Look around you and you would easily be able to identify several transactions that are involving money in a single day. Can you make a list of all these transactions? In many of these, goods are being bought and sold with the use of money. In some other transactions, services are being exchanged with money. For some, there might not be any actual transfer of money taking place now, but there will always be a promise to pay that money later. Have you ever wondered why transactions are usually made in money? The reason is basically simple. A person holding money can easily exchange it for any commodity, that is a good or a service that he or she might want at any point of time. Thus, everyone prefers to receive payments in money and then give out that money for the things that they want to have in their life in order to satisfy a certain kind of a need or want. Let us evaluate this entire concept of why exactly transactions are made in money with the case study of a shoe manufacturer. This manufacturer wants to sell shoes in the market so that with that money he can buy wheat for his consumption. The shoe manufacturer will first exchange shoes that he has produced for money and then exchange the money for wheat. Imagine how much more difficult it would be if the shoe manufacturer had to directly exchange shoes for wheat without the use of money. He would have to look for a wheat growing farmer who not only wants to sell wheat but also wants to buy the shoes in exchange. That is, both the parties, that is, the one who wants to buy the shoes and the wheat, must agree to sell and buy each other's commodities, which is a very rare occasion that we can find in today's world. So, this is also known as double coincidence of wants, which can also be conceptualized into what a person desires to sell is exactly what the other wishes to buy. So this is what double coincidence of wants is. In a barter system where goods are directly exchanged without the use of money, double coincidence of wants is an essential feature. So what exactly happens in a barter system is I will be selling a shoe to a person who grows wheat and that person will be giving me wheat without any kind of transaction in money. So it's a give and take policy without the use of money. So that is exactly what a barter system is. In contrast to this feature, take a scenario where it is no longer necessary for the shoe manufacturer to look for a farmer who will buy his shoes and at the same time sell him wheat. All he has to do is find a buyer for his shoes firstly. Once he has exchanged his shoes for the money, he can purchase wheat or any other commodity in the market. Since money acts as an intermediate in this kind of exchange process, it is called as a medium of exchange. Let us see the modern forms of money. We have seen that money is something that can act as a medium of exchange in transactions. We have evaluated that scenario in the previous slide. Before the introduction of coins, a variety of objects was used as money. For example, since the very early ages, Indians used to use grains and cattle as money, that is cows and domestic animals. Thereafter came the use of metal coins, that is, gold, silver, copper coins, a phase which continued well into the last century, that is 100 years ago. In this picture to the left, you can see the different kind of coins which were used by different kingdoms. You have the early punchmark coins, that is 2500 years old. Then you have the Gupta coins. Then you have the Tughlaq coins and the gold mohur from Akbar's period. So these coins were used in the earlier medieval and the ancient India. The first modern form of money we have is currency. Modern form of money include currency, and under currency you have paper notes and coins. Modern currency is not made of precious metals that were used in the earlier days such as gold, silver, copper. And unlike grain and cattle, they are neither of everyday use. The modern currency is without any use of its own. Then why exactly is it accepted as a medium of exchange? It is accepted as a medium of exchange because the currency is authorized by the government of the country as a medium of exchange. In India, the Reserve Bank of India, that is RBI, issues currency notes on behalf of the central government. As per the Indian law, no other individual or organization is allowed to issue currency except for RBI. Moreover, the law legalizes the use of rupee as a medium of payment that cannot be reused in settling transactions in India. Hence, the rupee is widely accepted as a medium of exchange. Next kind of a currency we have, next kind of money we have is the deposits that we hold with banks. At a point of time, people need only some currency for their day-to-day needs. They definitely do not require all the kind of currency they have. They just need to satisfy their day-to-day basic needs. They need some currency. For instance, workers who receive their salaries at the end of each month have extra cash generally at the beginning of the next month. So what do people exactly do with such an extra cash? They will definitely not want to use the entire extra cash in one day, right? So they deposit it with the banks by opening a bank account in their name. Banks accept this kind of a deposit, and when banks accept that kind of money, banks pay an amount of interest, a certain amount, suppose it may be 1% or 0.1% of that kind of amount what is being deposited to the person. In this way, people's money is safe with the banks and it earns an amount as interest. So you will get back some kind of money from the bank as well. People also have the provision to withdraw the money as and when they require. Suppose a certain kind of emergency comes up, or you need the cash that you've deposited at the bank immediately, you have the provision to withdraw that. So since the deposits in the bank accounts can be withdrawn on demand, you're demanding to withdraw the cash from the bank. So these deposits are hence called as demand deposits. Demand deposits offer another interesting facility. So what exactly is that? So you can lends it the essential characteristics of money, that is a medium of exchange. You would have heard of payments that are being made by checks instead of cash. For payment through a check, the payer who has an account with the bank makes out a check for a specific amount. So let us see exactly what is a check. A check is a paper which is instructing the bank to pay a specific amount of money from the person's account to the person in whose name the check has been issued. It is a transfer of money from one person to another. The facility of checks against demand deposits make it possible to directly settle payments without the direct use of cash. The modern forms of money, that is currency and deposits, are closely linked to the working of the modern banking system, and let us see with a pictograph how exactly this works. Firstly, we are going to be discussing the kind of check payments that we have here with another example of a shoe manufacturer. So, a shoe manufacturer named M. Salim has to make a payment to the leather supplier and writes a check for a specific amount of money. This means that the shoe manufacturer instructs his bank to pay this amount to the leather supplier in his name. The leather supplier takes this check and deposits it in his own account in the bank. The money is ultimately transferred from Salim's account to Prem Kumar, that is the leather supplier's account, in a couple of days. The transaction now is complete without any payment of cash, but the bank has handled it. So this is how a basic check looks. You can see the different kind of notations that are here. You have the account number, you have the bank branch code, you have the check number, and you have the coding used by the banks and the amount. And M. Salim has to sign on it.